Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video about our landscaping trailer. So you've seen us install a new floor. You've seen me install our new tool chest and workbench. You've seen me install the lights. That means there's one thing left to do. We need to fill this trailer full of equipment. But before we can put the equipment in it, we need somewhere to store the equipment. So we called up Equipment Defender and had them ship us all of their lockable racks for all of our equipment. So today we're gonna fill these walls with all the racks so that all of our new equipment has a place to live that we can secure whenever the back door is open. Let's go see what we got. 4-position trimmer rack, backpack sprayer rack, backpack fogger rack, backpack blower rack, hand tool rack, hedge trimmer rack. This is actually not from Equipment Defenders, this is from Green Touch. This is the pole saw rack, which I'm gonna figure out a way to make this work with that so I can hang all of them. This is a PAS rack, so it's a power accessory rack system for, you know, the detachable power heads. And I have this. This is to mount the spare tire. Now we have work to do. We have to unbox each one of those, get them put together, and then figure out how we want to organize all the equipment in our trailer. So let's get started. There's a lot of parts, and they're heavy. That sure is a lot of leftover pieces, but that's because it comes with all the stuff for an open or enclosed trailer. That's for an open trailer. This is all we need for our enclosed trailer, and we can't finish putting it together, well, until we decide where it's going to mount on the wall. So we're done with the double-edged hedge trimmer rack. What's next? So it has been 3 hours since I started putting all these racks together, and I'm actually no closer than I was when I started. These things, very well built, and they're also very heavy, and they also all need to be adjusted to your equipment before you install them. So I've gotten everything sort of put together, but not really. So here we go. This is our 4-position trimmer rack. This is our backpack blower. This is our sprayer. This is our hedge trimmer. These are your hand tools. That's your PAS system. And there is another sprayer. I believe that's the fogger one. Not sure, because it's all running together now. And here's the rest of the trimmer rack. Did I mention? Very well built. These things are extremely heavy. Lots of heavy metal. These are all the leftover parts, because they give you all of the components to mount an open trailer or an enclosed trailer. Turns out an enclosed trailer makes everything easier because you already have your own walls. I can't actually start installing these yet because every one of these, like that, I have to get the blower out, set it in there, adjust everything to fit my blower, and then you Loctite everything and make sure it fits really well before it dries. And then you'll have it set up to hang it on the wall, because the mounting brackets to mount it on the wall are adjustable to the backpack. So you don't really want to screw it to the wall until you have it set for your backpack. Same with this sprayer. That one is good to go. That one's good to go. Those are good to go. Also that one with the fogger, you have to set it in there and adjust it. And the weed eater rack is actually pretty easy. It tells you where to set it up. You just have to make sure you know where it's gonna be, but basically it's got dimensions on how to do that. And all the adjustments are actually these pieces right here that go on your weed eaters or your trimmers. And those are the things you adjust to make them fit into that. That's also all of our trash. Lots and lots of trash. They pack them really well. So I thought we would be installing these by now, but it's getting late, we're running out of daylight. Let me turn the lights on, since we have lights now, and talk about what we're gonna do in here. All right, we know when you walk in, we want our weed eaters right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have an idea for hanging my pole saw below it. You'll see tomorrow whenever I install it. That's why I have the trailer, the green trailer. It's the other company. That's why I have their brackets. I think I can mount them on the bottom of my 4-position rack and hang my pole saw down there. Thinking blower and blower, or maybe blower, blower. Not quite sure. I'm thinking right here, depending on where the weed eater's in and the pole saw ends, the PAS system rack with my 5 attachments. Over here, I'm thinking I have my sprayer, and then right here will be my hand tools. Possibly the PAS system, and something may switch around depending on how it goes. Haven't sorted out the gas cans yet. I don't have a rack for them. I'm gonna order a rack, I think, that just holds them. Possibly a 2 or a 3 right here, and a 2 or a 3 right here. Really all depends on where the equipment is before I decide where those go. I also cannot forget I need to mount a spare tire somewhere, so it's gonna go somewhere right here, possibly. Can't be in the way of anything right there, but it'll be go in this area. Could go right there. That could be cool. Oh, chainsaws. Chainsaws going up there on top. I already know that. I'm gonna put them up there. That's why I made that shelf, just for chainsaws. But as you can see, sun's going down. It's time to pack up, and we will, well, we'll continue working this in the morning. First, we'll adjust all of our stuff, and then we'll start deciding where everything goes. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Good morning, good morning. Look at this mess I left myself last night. So today, all this is gonna find a home in there. Now some of these require more steps, like the blowers, like I talked about yesterday. You have to set the blowers in there, adjust the rack to fit the blower, and then we can install in there. But right now, that's ready to go. And really, the weed eaters and trimmers are the only thing I know exactly where they're gonna go, because we know we want them right here on this wall when you walk in. So we're gonna start off by installing that first, and then once we see how that looks, we'll start planning the rest of the trailer out. All right, first order of business. We have a trimmer in here, and we have the racks, and we're trying to figure out the best location for the trimmers. And I came into my first dilemma, because these right here need to be on studs. Well, the first stud is right back here, which would put that motor out there at the door. The next stud is on that seam. You need to mount these as flush as possible with each other, so the first order of business is no work at all. We actually need to go to town and get some thin plywood. That way we can cut spacers to go between the bracket and the wall, so everything is nice and flush. It's also gonna be a problem on this side because almost all my blower racks will probably mount the bottom section right here, which means the top section needs spacers as well. So before we get started, we're already heading back to town to get some more supplies. Back from the store, and hopefully that's the only trip today we make. But we went ahead and got our spacers cut, and we have roughly mounted the rack on the wall. Man, I think that's gonna be pretty awesome right there. Man. So next up, we need to install the bracket that holds the motors. There's a motor support bracket. So when your weed eater is hanging here, or your trimmer, there's a bracket that comes off and supports the bottom of the motor. So we have to install that, and then there's some modifications I'm gonna do to this. So this is the brackets that go in the bottom of those. You're supposed to use it for an open trailer, but I'm gonna try to use it for an enclosed trailer because my idea is I can install those hanging down below this, and then I can hang this right here, and that's how I'll hang my pole saw. My pole saw will hang below this right here. But first, motor brackets, and then we will set up all the brackets to hold the trimmers and get all the trimmers in place, and then we'll work on that. We have our trimmer rack set up with 4 of our things in it. Here it is. Man, that looks good. So we have our straight edger, our trimmer, we have our PAS system with a hedger attachment, and we have a PAS power head with a pole saw on it. So for the straight stuff, you put the clip on the outside so it slides in like that, and on the PAS system you put it on the inside, that way they just can't take it apart and slide it apart out of the mechanism. The thing is I already learned, I have a short hedge trimmer. Does not work with this because the bracket right here, it interferes. It's a short hedger, so we cannot use that one. But we have to install all the rest of our attachments on one of these PAS power heads so we can set that depth, and that way they'll work no matter what attachment's on there. It'll always lock in, and the rest of them will go in our PAS attachment lock wherever that may be, there or somewhere in the trailer. But man, that looks awesome. Also, this is the reason I went with the same power heads. We have 2620 Echoes, and I want them all to be the same. That way, no matter what we had on them or what order we put them in, they would always be identical and it would always work together. So anyway, that thing's awesome. Side note, I'm gonna have to paint my little spacers here because, well, can't have them not matching. Now, for the science experiment, I wanna hang my pole saw on this, but I don't have anything that'll work for it, so I ordered this thing right here from another different company, and I went to hang something like this on the bottom. That way this one hangs in line with those. So I think we're going to modify this. This is the bracket for an open trailer for this. I'm going to modify that and have this thing hanging from this tube with these set screws at the level that'll make it symmetrical with these, and then we'll figure out how to attach this to that. We may have to bend this tab over right here, but we're gonna make it work. This is what we have. We have taken that bracket and cut it down to 9 inches, and we've installed it on the bottom of the rack. And this is what I'm thinking, drilling 2 holes to mount this just like this, and then we'd be able to put our steel pole saw right below it. And since we have some adjustment, we can drop it down to make it symmetrical with the rest of the trimmers. I think this is gonna work out great. It's gonna work out great. I'm gonna go through some holes and see how this turns out. Something like this. So I took and cut that down, drilled some holes, mounted this on there. Now we're gonna install them in the bottom of that, adjust the height, and see what it looks like. It looks like it belongs there, except for the green paint. It looks like it belongs there. There it is. We have turned our 4 trimmer rack into a 5 trimmer rack. Mostly because these big pole saws that are extendable, it's a 2-inch gap as opposed to those right there, which are a 1 inch. So the brackets don't work for that. So I made it work for what I wanted. And now I had to reorganize it because, well, I like symmetry. So I needed to go from longest to shortest. But you can pretty much play with this however you want because these 2 right here are my PAS systems. So those could change, and those are my standard ones, which we'll likely have maybe 2 of those also there, and these attachments will be on their holder. But now we see the space we had right here, because that has to go on bottom because that's the only place for it. So that's probably gonna be our spare tire. That's a good spot for the spare tire. And then maybe a sprayer right here or a blower, who knows? We do know our main blower is gonna go probably right here because we like the things we use all the time to be at the back of the trailer. So trimmers and weed eaters, blowers. So next up, we have to go adjust our rack to our blower And then we'll figure out how to mount it and get it put in its home. So we have our blower fitted to our rack, and this is what it looks like. So you just unlock it like this, pull the blower out. When you're done, put it back in, swing the arm around, and that's what it looks like. Now here on the back side, this and this is your mounting brackets to the wall, and we have to decide what we want to do with the blower tube. Do we want it to go straight up at an angle? We know we want it right here by the door, so let's see. So if we want it straight up, that's where it's got to be. And if we want it to come out here and go at an angle, that eats up a lot of space right there. That eats up a lot of real estate. But then we could potentially hang two, one below and one above, which could be cool. But let's see if we did it like this. All right, so there's one. That means the second one could go right here. Gotta remember that spot right there. All right, so it's literally the same amount of real estate if it goes sideways or up and down. Up and down would be easier to put it in there and out of there whenever you're tired. Having to put one potentially up here, well, this top one's gonna be hard. Well, not hard. At the end of the day, the top one's not gonna be fun. This one will always be easy. I don't know. What do y'all think? Two of them down low, which could be cool. Also cool. Also cool. Decisions. So I went back and forth on where to mount the blowers, and I ultimately decided, because I have two and one is a special use blower, that I'll hang it up high. So we decided to mount them on top of each other. Our Fogger Mister blower, which we won't use every day, is up high because it's kind of inconvenient, especially in the day when you're tired. It's going to be hard to get up there. The blower we use almost every day, pretty much every single yard, is the one down here, easy to get to. And you can see they're both hanging right there, and they didn't eat up much real estate, meaning we have from here forward to decide what else goes on these walls. And when you walk in the back, you still have plenty of real estate to drive your mowers in. Man, this is turning out awesome. Love those. Love that. Now we have to start deciding how to utilize the rest of our space. So we still have to do the PAS rack, which is all of our accessories for our power heads. We have 5 of those, and they go in a little rack right there, but we need to make sure it's low enough so you can get them out of the top. We have to do a spare tire, which may go right there. We have a weed sprayer or bug sprayer, however you want to put it, maybe right there or right here. And then we have 2 racks to hold hand tools like shovels and rakes, which I'm thinking like bam and bam. We also have a hedge trimmer that holds it vertically, which could go right here. This is all coming together. But first we have to go put some more of our racks together, and then we'll bring the rest of the equipment here and we'll start laying it out and figure out where the best place is for it to go. I have a mess. I still don't know where everything is gonna go, but I did know where that's gonna go. So this is my PAS holder, so it holds all my attachments for my power heads. And this one was pretty easy to figure out because I took the pole saw. The pole saw is the longest attachment, and had to make sure I had enough room to get it out without it hitting the ceiling. So that was pretty easy to figure out because it can't go over there because it would be too high. So this is a perfect spot to put it. Now I have to go ahead and get all my other attachments, hook them up, set the distance for the locking pins, and then put them over here to store them. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then we'll figure out where the rest of this stuff is gonna go. So I've been practicing where the sprayer goes. That's the rack for my hedge trimmer. Spare tire, I don't know where it's gonna go yet. There's no stud right there in the middle, and I kind of feel like it has to have a stud, otherwise it's gonna pull all the wood. But there's not really a stud over here either without it being in a really weird spot. So we'll finish that up, and then we'll discuss what's left and figure out the space we have to use. The PAS system is now done. I went ahead and attached all my attachments checked them that they work here, and now they're stored there. So we have a 3-foot extension, a spare trimmer head, a tiller, a hedge trimmer, and this brush cutter. We put the pole saw back on the rack, and we have this articulating hedge trimmer right here. Now, what to do with that, our other hedge trimmer, our hand tools, and our spare tire. Solved the riddle of 2 of the things. Spare tire and my weed killer sprayer. So, look at this trailer the way it is now. Trimmer racks, blowers, PAS attachments, spare tire, and sprayer. Now we have to mount these for hand tools, which I'm thinking right there and possibly right there. Or maybe one over here. Just depends on the spacing and where the studs are. We also need to hang this somewhere. We are done setting up the trailer. Turns out I didn't have very many hand tools, or not as many as I thought I did, so we were able to just use one of the brackets. So I'll use the second one down there to keep them straight, which means I can expand to right there if I need to. And we hung the hedge trimmer right here. I chose right there because I'm gonna keep the standard ones, like the standard length ones up top, and the PAS systems down below. So those 2 are always gonna be the longest. Those 2 will never change. Even if I were to add more, it will only get shorter. And it also is kind of behind them. So really, unless you come to the 3rd one, you're fine. So as long as everything down below is the long options, you're good. That leaves me a whole bunch of room right here and right here for something, and a small space right here. Now, I haven't sorted out what I'm gonna do about gas cans. Considering putting them right there, also right here at the back, I could put a 5-gallon and a 2.5, and another 5-gallon and a 2.5 right there. Potentially, I've seen people put them on top of the fender wells. Probably not over there. I am gonna order some gas can tank holders and see what I can do. It's tough because this is a dovetail, so it's at an angle, and maybe the standard containers don't work. I also have a trimmer line spooler coming. Not sure where I'm gonna put it. That would be a good spot. Also, right there would be a good spot because these come straight off the wall. They don't go backwards. So really, right here would be really good. This is our trailer, and I think it turned out amazing. Real quick, let's do a complete tour of what we have going on here. So we have 4 Echo 2620s. The top one is a straight shaft trimmer. The second one is a straight shaft edger. And below that, we have 2 2620 PAS systems. And our accessories are an articulating hedge trimmer, a pole saw. Over here, we have the rest of our accessories. We have a 3-foot extension. We have another trimmer head. We have a tiller. We have a small or a short range hedge trimmer, and we have a brush cutter. Below them, we have our big boy. This is an extendable pole saw by Stihl. It's an HT 131. It goes up to 16 feet, and it is awesome. Right here, we have the Echo HC 2020 hedge trimmer. That thing is super sharp. Over here, we have 2 blowers. We have a Stihl SR450. This is a fogger mister. So you can use it as a blower, but you can also fog and mist for mosquitoes. And you can even apply fertilizer if you wanted to. And below this is the workhorse. This is the Echo 791 OT. This thing, it'll blow leaves to the next county. Right here we have a Stihl SG20 backpack sprayer that I use with Roundup. That's an exciting spare tire. There are some random hand tools. And then up here, we have our 2 Echo chainsaws. We have a 3410 and a 620. Both of those are super awesome. We're missing one very important thing to this trailer setup. Can y'all guess what it is? It goes right here in the middle. This is the main attraction of the whole trailer. This is a Skag 61-inch Tiger Cat 2. And this thing, well, this thing is a machine. This thing is built to mow yards, and built to mow yards in a hurry. Don't mind my rope. I still have to sort out how to hold that flap up when I load it because it'll drag everything. That's only what I had for right now. I'm actually thinking about getting rid of that and installing one of those grass flaps where I can control the opening and closing of the baffle with a foot pedal. But I haven't got around to ordering it. I've been busy. Actually, for those of y'all that don't know, I've been busy mowing yards before I had the trailer finished because word travels fast. So that's why some of this equipment looks used, because While I've been building my trailer, I've also been working already. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching me install all these awesome Equipment Defender racks. The 4-position trimmer rack, the hedge trimmer rack, our 2 blower racks, our PAS system rack, our backpack sprayer rack, and our hand tool rack. If you want more information about that, I'll link it down below. We are not sponsored by them. I just think they're awesome products. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. I love you, and I'll see ya in the next one.